Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jennifer Huber, and since June of 2022, I've been using Mounjaro to manage my type 2 diabetes. Now, in that time, I have lost about 60 pounds. I started off at 197, and you'll learn what my weight is this week. But most importantly, I have just made these amazing improvements with my health. First off, I started off with an A1C of 8.2. At last check, which was the end of January of 2024, my A1C was 5.6. I used to have high blood pressure and I was on high blood pressure medication. I no longer have high blood pressure and I no longer take that medication. My cholesterol numbers are improving and I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and that has since been reversed. So yeah, Mounjaro really has been a miracle in my life. So before I get into this week's update, I just want to remind you that I'm not a healthcare professional and I'm just sharing my personal experience and opinion about using Mounjaro to manage my type 2 diabetes. So I have no relationship with the drug manufacturer Eli Lilly, and I have no relationship with any pharmacy that is dispensing Mounjaro. All right, let's get into this week's update. Week 91, that seems so weird, but yeah, well over a year I've been on Mounjaro. It'll be 2 years coming up soon before we know it. But first off, happy spring. Yes, spring has sprung. Kind of feels like spring only sprung in Florida because I have friends up in western New York who are experiencing snow. I've seen snow out in the southwest. So spring is here, and what I did today, I went and picked wildflowers. I did this last year, and here's a photo comparison. And yeah, I had a great time this afternoon picking flowers, and now here I am sharing this experience with you. But this week's update, I did not gain or lose any weight. I'm still at 136 pounds. So that's just over 60 pounds since being on Mounjaro. Yes, pretty wild. My glucose numbers range between the 80s and low 100s. I didn't get my glucose reading every day, but again, you can see my glucose. And for whatever reason, this morning's glucose, which was in the 80s, it didn't transmit, and it'll transmit tomorrow. Hopefully it'll transmit tomorrow, so you'll see it next week. So yeah, glucose between the 80s and low 100s, and I just test my glucose in the morning when I get up. Exercise, well, exercise has been a little challenging, I guess you can say. I'm in this limbo with my hip, so I'll get into talking about that later, but basically it's been a lot of walking. My gosh, this morning my dog and I, we did 2 miles just for his morning walk, and when I last checked, I think it was at least 10,000 steps for the day. Not just with my walk with him, but my walk and then going out to the flower field. So my exercise has been walking, but then also, well, I'll tell you that a little bit later. Food, I've been mindful. I am making up yogurt tonight. I'm back to my yogurt swing. You know, I picked all those blueberries last week, and then I did find half a flat of strawberries this week. I found them at the store. I didn't go strawberry picking. So I have a freezer full of fresh berries, and I'm just enjoying them and enjoying the fresh fruit of the season, but I will be making my yogurt again. So I'm excited about that. It's spring, it's refreshing. Also yesterday I made, if you've ever been to Cooper's Hawk, which has excellent food, I made their Brussels sprouts last night and they were amazing. It's basically Brussels sprouts, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper. You roast them and then you make a chutney with a cilantro, peppermint or mint leaves, and olive oil, and then also some red chili flakes, and you mix that all together, and then when the Brussels sprouts come out, you just pour that on top, and it is so flavorful and so good. You can use it with a little aioli as well. Oh, I guess there is garlic also in that little chutney. So garlic, cilantro, and mint leaves along with some hot pepper flakes. So good. So I made that yesterday. But other than that, I'm being mindful. You know, Fridays, I was raised as a Catholic. I am definitely not a practicing Catholic, but I still like the tradition of not eating meat on Fridays. So I've been honoring that every Friday during Lent. So I've been enjoying some fish that I've been cooking up as well. Hope you're having success with your nutrition plan with Mounjaro. All right, so we talked about exercise, weight, glucose, food, or nutrition. So now what is going on with me and my hip? Well, if you've been following along, you know I've been having hip pain. And so I did have an x-ray done, which led to an MRI. And so the MRI was on Monday, and I went into my patient portal every day hoping it would show up, and they said probably on Friday. Well, it did show up on Wednesday. And bottom line, my general practitioner just told me to read what was in the portal. They did tell me that I have 2 tears in two tendons. So I have 2 tendons with tears. They're partial tears. And the x-ray basically says that I have, and I thought it was worse, but once I got doing the research, it's not so bad. I mean, it's kind of bad. But so I have basically a form of arthritis in my pelvis and then arthritis in my right hip. I'm not sure about my left hip because they didn't do any x-rays or MRIs on that. Have calcium deposits in my right hip area and the muscles around the hip. And then my tendons, let me get the exact name of those tendons that are ripped, or torn, I should say, torn tendons. Let's see. Yeah, the MRI, there was a lot going on, and I really was hoping for someone to interpret it to me, but basically what I did is I took pieces of it and I ran it through Microsoft Copilot, which is like kind of like a chatbot. It's Copilot. It's supposed to help you. It's not supposed to do things for you, but just hope it's supposed to help you along. So let's see. I have a tendon tear of the gluteus minimum and then a tendon tear for the gluteus medius, which basically all this pain on my side. I rarely have any pain in the morning, but once I start walking in that, I have pain. And from what I found by my research, and so you're probably wondering, why haven't I spoken to an orthopedic? I'll get to that in a bit. But what I found is basically I need to stay in motion. Not going crazy with exercise, but I need to stay in motion. So walking is okay, even though I have these arthritis issues with my overall pelvis. And then my hip, I just need to keep moving, and I need to strengthen up these muscles. So I've been looking for exercises, and I found 5 sets of exercises that I've started doing to help strengthen up my muscles, because they do feel weak by midday. They just feel like they're overworn. So hopefully the exercises that I found will help strengthen that. So why haven't I spoken to an orthopedic yet? You know, silly me, when this all started in December, when I could barely walk after a little run, I just thought it was just part of life. It was old age. It would just shake it off or so. And then I'm like, well, I have an appointment with my general practitioner in early February, so we'll see with that. And you know, when I talked to her, if you recall, she said, oh, you probably just have arthritis. Take this anti-inflammatory, and then if it's not working in 2 weeks, we'll get an x-ray. So fast forward, here we are, x-ray, MRI. I got a referral, even though I don't need a referral, but got a referral for orthopedic, and it's at the same orthopedist practice that I've been before for my ankle and some shoulder collarbone issues, and I can't get in until the end of April. So that is how in demand that this orthopedic is, orthopedist or orthopedic, the end of April. So my employer does have some other options, and I'm going to look into that this week. I was going through my mail, and I found that they sent us a flyer actually earlier in the year about resources for joint issues and bone issues, and basically you can hop on a phone with an orthopedic and then they will guide you into some exercises. So I'm going to do that sooner than later to make sure I'm on the right track with the exercises that I have found thanks to Microsoft Copilot. So Yeah, so that's all that I have going on. I'm trying to enjoy spring. It's been kind of, yeah, it has gotten hot in Florida here, up in the 80s already, but it's still cool in the mornings, like in the 50s and 60s, which I really enjoy. So it's starting to get a little bit rainy as well, which means I'm going to have to start cutting my grass. Hopefully it won't hurt me too much. I kind of feel like a baby complaining about the pain that I've been having in my hip, and when I look around and see other people limping and they're walking with a cane, I guess I'm thinking that's gonna be me, because the tears in tendons don't heal by themselves. They don't, yeah, they don't just, I guess they have to be sewn back together, from what I've been reading. So, I didn't want to, I said in my earlier video that I didn't want to live with this pain for the rest of my life, but it looks like perhaps I might need to, unless these exercises that I continue to do are super amazing. And I don't know if surgery is going to be down the road. I did start looking up people, looking up videos from people who had that surgery and see what the recovery time is, and I just can't imagine being out of commission for that long. And by out of commission, I mean, they're basically in the hospital the same day that they went home. However, they couldn't do normal things for months at a time. So we will cross that bridge when we get to it. Anyway, I hope you're having success on Mounjaro. And let me just say that I don't think my hip issue is related to Mounjaro. If anything, it is probably helping it, because I don't weigh as much as I did before, and who knows, maybe this was all regular wear and tear just over the years with my life. I mean, I grew up playing street hockey with the boys, flag football, eventually played field hockey, did some track, although it was more of the field sports, played broomball in college, which is a lot of fun. It's an intramural sport, a lot of hiking. When I was 39, I thought it'd be a great idea to play roller derby, so I did that for a little bit until I got really hurt, and then I didn't skate anymore. I mean, it was just a short period of time. It wasn't even a year before I got really hurt. So it could just be regular wear and tear, and being on Mounjaro, I'm just a healthier person, so hopefully this will carry me into the next stage as to what that might be. All right now, so I hope you're having success with Mounjaro. Maybe you're on Zepbound. And again, I just want to thank you all for being here. I've spent this last week trying to figure out the whole orthopedic thing and figuring out exercises and just finding all these other alternatives in that. But I do appreciate you following my journey with Mounjaro, and perhaps this next journey I've thought about maybe I should start a new series of called pre-retirement, getting ready for retirement. I mean, I'm about a decade down the road from retirement, but I know I need to start thinking about things, and health is one of them. Because I live by myself. I mean, I would love to get married again. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But I just need to know that I need to take care of myself, and being alone, I just want to be as independent as possible, and being a healthier version of myself helps me be more independent. So maybe you'll see some pre-retirement videos coming along. Maybe you'll see some videos explaining more about my hip situation as to what's going on, because it looks like they're common medical conditions that other people out there are going through, and that they've shared those experiences online as well, and I'm appreciative of those who have shared their experience online, because it is helping me. It's given me comfort and not so doom and gloom as I was feeling last week. All right, my friends. All right, so if you're new to Mounjaro, or perhaps you're in the middle, so if you're new to Mounjaro, or maybe you've been on it for a while, or maybe you're new to Zepbound, my pieces of advice to you are: you need to stay hydrated. You need to clean up your eating. Look at the Mediterranean or the Blue Zones diet, even though I hate using the term diet. You need to exercise more. You need to move more. I recommend doing some strength training. I did a lot of Pilates, yoga, and Pyo. I still do those, but I wish I did more strength training. I guess there is some strength training in there with the Pyo, but don't be afraid to get those weights out. Also, don't compare your journey to anyone else's, because my journey is going to look different than yours. Yours is going to look different from someone else's. Just go at your own pace. And by going at your own pace, I mean, don't feel the need to move up to the next dosage if you're not feeling comfortable moving on from the current dose that you are on. For instance, if you're on the 5 milligram dose and after 4 weeks your stomach is still feeling not quite right and just your body's not feeling right, don't feel the need to go up to 7.5 dose. Stay at that 5 milligram dose. And then, of course, stay in touch with your healthcare provider, because they're going to be the ones who know you best and they have that relationship with you, and they're going to be able to provide you with the best piece of advice on using a Mounjaro or a zepbound during your journey. All right, my friends, I hope you have an awesome week. I will catch you next Sunday. Yes, it is Easter Sunday, so I will still pop on and say hello to you all. I do have family visiting, but I will find some time. And yeah, so have an awesome week, and remember, not only be kind to others, but please be kind to yourself. Bye.